Citizen Security Secretariat, and Mr. Hans Richards, who is the Data and Research Analyst. Welcome to WinFM.
Thank you for having us. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Okay, and they're here to tell us about the Better Opportunity Fair taking place this Friday. Now, Ms. Carey, before we get to Friday's fair, can you remind us exactly what the Citizen Security Secretariat is and what it does?
Sure. The Citizen Security Secretariat, it was first put in place to address crime and violence from a different perspective, from a public health perspective. The reason behind this is that we only think about the national side of it versus the citizen side of it. You know, the national, we talk about the protecting the borders and stuff like that, but the citizen, we are speaking more of the people. We have to take care of the people, right? So the purpose of that is the Prime Minister would have looked at the rise in crime and violence, and he decided that we should have a special unit that would address some of the root causes of crime and violence, and that is how the Secretariat came about. It's a hub where information resources will be gathered, stored, and be able to push back out into the community. In addition to that, so basically it's like a centralized coordinating body, and it was established under the Ministry of National Security, and it was mostly created to guide and support efforts in crime and violence prevention. It works across the sectors to implement a public health approach to citizen security.
Okay. All right, so then the next question is, so what is the Better Opportunity Fair, and what are the goals and objectives?
Okay, the Better Opportunity Fairs, okay, last year when we officially launched the Secretariat, it was in September 2024, we would have done some community consultations in addition to going into the communities themselves to speak to the youths and speak to other stakeholders. And again, we were trying to get information as to what they think are the grassroots of crime and violence. So with that, we would have received information. And out of that information, we would have be able to identify what areas we should be addressing, like paying close attention to. So the Better Opportunity Fair is to provide the resources based on what the results were when we went into the communities and from the community consultations. So we'll be providing, for example, if I may add, when we also had a study done by the USAID, they also showed what are the areas that we need to be paying close attention to, and it also showed the many different areas where crime and violence stem from, and with number one being family issues, number two, Mr. Richards.
Number two being, good morning again. Number two, so number one, the issues with family. It covers, it encompasses many aspects, whether there is no moms at home, no fathers at home, parents are coming in late, parents are being abusive with the children. Children are not able to get the nutrition they need. Then number two, we look at job opportunities. So that's the main reason why we hosting these fairs, to improve on the condition of some of the requirements that or the needs that the community would have said they were lacking, and thinking that they could have been catalyst towards the increase in crime and violence. And then number three, we look at peer pressure. Peer pressure was among and those also came out in the research done by USAID, and psychosocial. So anything that's to do with trauma, mental issues that the children might have. So it's not a case where someone is crazy, as we might say, but no, it's, for example, if you're living in a high-risk area, respectfully, areas like McKnight and Newtown and Village, and on the outside you might have Sandy Point, where persons would have witnessed and experienced crime and violence. Mainly we were focusing on gang violence. So I wanted to add that specifically because that was the issue that was affecting the citizens at the time. So we focused mainly on gang violence. So persons who would have witnessed those, that experience would have suffered trauma. And that would have led them to copying the behaviors that they would have seen with the intention of joining a gang after they see, because that they would have felt that would have been the soothing effect to them from what they've seen, how to deal with their issues. So psychosocial was a big deal for the communities when they mentioned some of the root causes of why teenagers would have wanted to join a gang. So those were among the major four, and drug abuse. So those were the five. So we're focusing on those, and we're trying to mitigate and reduce the need for the issue with the family. We try to reduce the unemployment issue, deal with the unemployment issue, and the Prime Minister would have increased the number of family counselors and special trained persons in counseling and mental health issues, so that we could somewhat bridge these gaps and try to continue the reduction in the homicides that we would have experienced over the past 28 years.
So to answer your question now more in depth, Lorraine, based on what he said, these are some of the information that we would have received. So we would have said which is the most at-risk communities we would have seen, which is the highest, what we have to look at. So that's where the better opportunity fair now comes into play, because with everything that was said, we have the resources. Truth and in fact, we do have resources that could address most of what was said by Mr. Richards. But the thing is that persons were not aware of the resources, where they are, who to contact. So the better opportunity will be displaying most of these resources. We have the Ministry of, for example, Social Development would be on board. So it's just about sharing information, letting persons know that we have these resources, and you can reach out to this particular stakeholder or person to get whatever information that you need. So that is mainly the purpose of the better opportunity, to share information and to build relationships.
Okay. Well, and what was the feedback like from the first edition?
From my point of view, the feedback, because my intention of being there was to collect more data and to see what persons would have felt about the fear. And not only that, we're actually doing a community survey about how does the citizen feel when it comes to the new direction in which we are going, and looking at crime and violence as an infectious disease, how they think it's working, why they think that there's a drastic decrease in crime and violence, and how would the community participate in the continuation in the reduction, and what plans do they have, what programs they want to join, what programs they think we should incorporate in the plans, etc. So for me, it was important that I meet with people, have them fill out the survey, so that we could have more answers to the question of why we have been suffering with this issue, or as we say, scourge in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. So that was my purpose there. So we bring them in, and Ms. Carey would explain the other part, but from a scientific part or from a data perspective, that was my intention being there.
Okay, and on my part now, I would say the feedback, again, persons are not aware of what things are, who persons be, whatever it is. So the feedback that we would have received, well, I've never heard of citizen security, or I've never heard of, we have family counselors, I've never heard certain things. So that was the feedback that we were receiving. So again, it told us that we definitely have to be out in the communities, we definitely have to be doing surveys to get information, to let persons know that we do have these information, resources, and assistance that could benefit their livelihood.
So I can assume then that some of what we learned from the last, the last fair will now be reflected in this new fair.
Yes.
Okay. So, and where is this fair taking place? This one on Friday. Where is it taking place?
We are going back to Central Street. That's the street between National Bank and Floor. We're going back there, and it's the week of music festivals. The person will be in town. In addition to that, it's the day of the child march. So again, parents will be in town. Town will pretty much be full. Yes, it may seem like a lot, but within that lot, you get great and valuable information on the same day. So we are urging persons, once the march is concluded, just head on to Central Street. And that will be on the 27th. It starts from 12 noon up until 5 p.m.
Okay. And so my next question then is, what makes version 2 different from the inaugural event?
From a scientific point of view, we have more people, right? So more people mean that you have more the possibility or the greater possibility of getting more responses to the survey is higher. So the likelihood of increasing the survey numbers is much higher. And then what for me is important in the survey is that before, persons did not necessarily get a chance to share their views on how we think that we should go about dealing with crime and violence, apart from the punitive responses of law enforcement and the legal and the justice system. And now they have that opportunity. So I'm asking persons to participate in the survey and give us your feedback, so that, because what happened is everything that we're doing is based on the community engagement that we would have had last year in September and October and November. And so now we're going into the next step to find out what else is short, what else we need to do, what are the people saying, how do they feel, are you feeling safe in your community? So for me, the persons, I'm inviting persons to show up to the fairs, be it in Bastille, Sandy Point, wherever we have the fairs. Ms. Carey would explain where we would have the others, and participate in the survey, because we are listening, and so far you have been doing a tremendous job by giving us valid information so that we could utilize it to counter the behaviors that were deviant and causing the problem that we would have had for the past, again, 28 years. So.
Yes, I won't say, for me, I won't say there's a huge difference, because pretty much we are on a mission, and our mission is to promote safer, healthier communities across St. Kitts and Nevis, and we are here to empower youth and families to participate in nation building. In addition to that, we are looking at fostering a society where opportunity and security are accessible to all. And as my colleague said, he's more about the science, so we are looking at building an evidence-based framework for reducing violence and promoting justice. So with saying that, I would just say we are here to be consistent. So I wouldn't say there is much of a difference. It's just that because we have an agenda, we are following the agenda, we are on a mission to ensure that we keep the percentage of crime and violence to a minimum, or even lower than the minimum. So I wouldn't say there's a big difference from first to second. We're just bringing back the information, and we're bringing it in a more, as Mr. Richard said, more persons will be in town, so we're trying to capture as much more persons on that day.
Well, you talk about the empowering of youth. So what are some of the new approaches that might...
One of the things that I could add when it comes again to this science is that we are the community engagements would have a lot of the children, especially I remember one time specifically in St. Peter's, the persons in the community engagement were specifically footballers. So they came from the field and they came on, and they gave you goosebumps with the responses that they gave, and it was not that nobody was trying to ask them to be diplomatic in their responses. They just gave responses about how they felt by the questions given. And so that for me started the ball rolling, and then we move on to different communities. So it's giving them a chance to hear, to be heard, and to take advice from them and how they are suffering, because our time is different to their time, so we need to give them an ear, and how we can improve on their behaviors, because we want to divert the deviancy from one norm to the better norm, the norm that we were accustomed to. But they have issues that we didn't have, so we have to reach out and understand what they're saying. And the idea of inviting persons from from CFBC and the high school to be a part of the secretariat, so they would bring the children or the young adults or the school children aspect of why they think so much crime were happening, why they think so much fights are happening in school right now as it relates to female more so, and that's a concern that we're having. So we're going to try and figure out why, because everything that happens in the community right now, we go to the secretariat and we try to find ways to mitigate it as much as possible. So the youths are now being a part of the response and the solution. And so now the Prime Minister would have said that we would now include persons from CFB and persons from the high school to be a part of the way forward.
And in addition to that, Lorraine, in looking at empowering the youths, we have a lot of young entrepreneurs or business owners, so to speak, that are out there, and they're doing very well. They're doing very well. However, they may lack in so many areas that we can assist with. For example, some of them do not know the importance of paying Social Security, for example. So we want to let them know, hey, there are other ways that you can also build yourself while building your little business. So we are empowering them to do things the right way that would eventually put them in a space where they belong, which is top leaders, top business owners, whatever it is that they're looking for. And we see the capabilities, we just match them to the various resources. So that's how one of the ways we want to also empower the youths. We want to empower them even more to use their voice and tag someone. We are making this thing all inclusive, each one touch one, and with doing that we want them to be reminded that if I help a sister, if I help a brother out, together we win. We produce much more in the communities, so the federation on a whole can be thriving in an environment that will benefit the citizens.
Okay, well, Hans, you mentioned 2 entities. But I'm sure there must be more who are offering services on this occasion. Could you give us a...
Sure. We have Aspire, Elevate, Ministry of Social Development. Inland Revenue is back on board, Ministry of Employment. They will also be coming to share the different types of available jobs that are there and share any career development information with them. If I may, Lorraine, sometimes we look at persons, we wonder if they have all the information, or by just looking at them, we will say, okay, they do. But truth and in fact, when you sit and have conversation with them, they really don't know certain things. And for example, career, right? Some persons naturally doesn't know what to wear, what not to wear to an interview. So that could probably be one of the reasons why they are not getting hired. So us again, Citizen Security Secretariat, in collaboration with other stakeholders, I recently spoke to the HR person at the Marriott, and she asked, so how can we come on board to assist in these areas? So I asked her, well, tell me what are some of the services that you offer when it comes to career development. And she did say that they have training from time to time in career development, so she can definitely partner with us. And those are things that we are looking for. Those are the type of stakeholders we want to bring on board. It's an open door. You bring your knowledge, you bring your expertise, whatever it is, and we collaborate and we have a fruitful outcome, right? Also, we have UE coming on board. They were there the last time, and they shared their programs that they have. Again, persons did not know, so that was very well received. We have the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force. They're also coming on board and will be represented by the National Intervention Team. Now, this team has been doing amazing work in the communities, especially with the youth. Sergeant Charmaine Odein, she leads this program, and they have so many different types of programs that can benefit the youth. They recently had an Easter camp with over 150 youths. I was there, I gave presentations, So these are some of the things that, again, person doesn't know. And the Citizen Security Secretariat, we are bridging the gaps. We are bringing persons together. We are bringing health. We are bringing wealth. We're bringing everything to the youth because we want an environment where persons can thrive in. Right, so those are some of the vendors that would be on board. We also have the chambers coming on board, the UN. Yes.
Well, it really sounds like a very interesting event is going to be taking place.
Yes.
Now, Flames, please let the public know that we're opening to questions. Yeah? Can we take a short break? Sorry about that.
We call and say, hello, Miss Lee. Yes, it's me, Earthquake. I come in Tuesday around 10. No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced. And when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the door, we are in the exit. Stairs might block up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors, in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, nobody run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with WinFM.
Let TDC Financial Services help you go for your goals. Whether you're thinking of taking that grand vacation, down payment on a house, higher education, TDC Financial Services has various plans that will allow you to go for your goals. Choose from the Accumulator Plus, Investment Starter Plan, and Fixed Deposit. Ready to go for your goals? Visit us at TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
Red passion. Embrace the mix.
Campari red passion. Full action, this is red passion. Embrace the mix. Add Campari, make it turn and twist. Add your chaser in your drink. Campari red passion, make the nicest mix. Campari.
Campari red passion. Embrace the mix. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
Get ready, St. Kitts and Nevis. The momentum continues with Better Opportunity Fair number 2, happening Friday, 27th June at 12 noon on Central Street. Come explore a world of opportunity, from skills training and employment pathways to health screenings, financial advice, and so much more. Meet the experts from Aspire, the Inland Revenue Department, small business operators, and more, all ready to support you. And yes, we're turning up the energy with live entertainment from the one and only Ronnie Rascal. It's access, empowerment, and community, all in one place. Brought to you by the Citizen Security Secretariat. Because together, we're building safer, stronger communities. Don't miss the next Better Opportunity Fair, Friday, 27th June, Central Street, 12 noon.
Okay, check your time. It's just about 26 minutes moving up to the 11 o'clock around. We're having a special interview with Mr. Richard and Miss Carey. That's the Director of Citizen Security Secretariat. And we're going to be joining Lorraine live once more.
Okay, well, listeners, we're just letting you know that the phone lines are open and feel free to call in with your questions. I mean, from what we've heard so far, there's going to be a wealth of opportunity at this fair, and I hope that everyone will make every effort to take full advantage of whatever they can, So while we have the officers here and you have questions that you want to ask, feel free to do so now, all right? Meanwhile, we'll continue with our conversation. Okay, because we speak here about the fact that it's a family-oriented event. We did mention that you have the school, what do you call it? Walk around.
Children's March.
The march, thank you. You have the child march. But outside of that, what is there for the children? How can they participate really?
We won't have anything at this one on Central Street that would gear towards the smaller youths, but however, once we go to the other opportunities fair that's in Sandy Point and Sadlers, we'll definitely have a lot more games. We have bounce castles and of course family-oriented games also, but for the one, because town would already be congested, I think they would have stuff already in the square, so we won't have much for the youths, the younger youths. But definitely for the other fairs, we'll have more family-oriented activities.
Okay, that sounds very good. Sounds very nice. Okay. Well, Mr. Richards, what else are you going to tell us about?
Okay, for sure, I was waiting. Because I know that some persons are wondering, like, can somebody catch violence? I needed to make that clear to everybody. Yes, you can catch violence. How can you catch violence? How could violence be transmitted? Just like whatever you see at home, you do. What you see your parents do, you do. It's called copying. So it's a visual brain. So you see it, and it affects your brain. And then if it's repeated over a period of time, you become infected. And so what we're trying to do is to mitigate that chance of persons copying negative behavior or deviant behavior, whether it's from home or in the community and at school. And so we want to reach the high-risk areas so that we change the norm, which is one of the epidemiological principles for dealing with infectious disease. So I want us to roll back COVID for a little bit, that bad boy COVID, yeah? So if we roll back to COVID, we recognize that during COVID, nobody could tell nobody to wear a mask Kitchens wouldn't wear a mask. Divisions wouldn't wear a mask. But COVID changed the norm that forced us to wear a mask. Now, how does that relate to crime and violence? Instead of wearing what does a mask do? A mask prevent the increase in numbers. It reduces the spread. It also prevent the transmission. So we interrupting the transmission, and once the transmission is interrupted, then the spread no longer happens. Because if you have COVID, but I put my mask, Miss Carey put her mask, then most likely we may not be infected with the full-blown COVID-19 virus. And so that's what we're trying to do. Bridge the gap, put mask between the persons who are perpetrators and those who could copy their behavior to prevent them from becoming contagious. And so the key principles would be to interrupt the transmission. So we try to interrupt by bringing different behaviors to the communities, more oriented, family-oriented behaviors, train persons how to mitigate problems, how to not fight, want to fight, but rather think about what they're doing, take time out. They have specialists who are now trained and were not trained like that before. For example, if there's a murder, let's say, God forbid, let's say it's right now in the sands. For example, within 30 minutes or 30 minutes to 6 hours, I want persons to get the numbers clear. We have to release someone called a violence interrupter. And Dr. Powell is taking the lead on that at this time. And so what he does is he has his team, and they go out and they try to immediately speak to those families who would have lost someone or were maybe the person is a non-fatal victim, so they didn't die, but they're at the hospital. So someone will go to the family and someone will go to the hospital where the victim is. And for what is that trying to do is to mitigate, try and break the chance of a retaliation, tit for tat, butter for fat, as we say here, right? So we try to mitigate, stop that need to retaliate. So we converse, and we try to keep conversing and attack the mental state of the persons. Because most of the persons that are affected and would retaliate would be the co-victim. Now, a co-victim is somebody, for example, if God forbid you are my brother and you lose your life, I would be the co-victim. So I would want to retaliate because I want revenge for my brother. So I have that trauma to retaliate. So if I could get interrupted from coming to retaliate on the shooter who took your life, then it would probably give me the chance to second guess or think over my need to retaliate, if that makes sense. And then once you keep doing that, the norm would be that persons, after hearing this thing, man, I don't want to, I ain't gonna do it. And then eventually you won't even, because most of the crimes are retaliation. You kill one from McKnight, you kill one from Village. It's only fair, right? So if we could bridge that gap, then the spread would reduce because there's no need anymore. And person will say, oh, the peace program was there. The peace program is the root to a lot of the addition. So it's changed to elevate, and also you're adding that to something. So there's nothing that was there is removed or wiped out. It's just adding. It's just a conglomerate or a holistic approach. So using every aspect that we could mitigate and reduce the spread. And as we change the spread and we bring messages like these and continue to put up positive messages, whether on billboards, on sites, on radio stations, then the norms are going to change. Because reality is, if you keep seeing, again, it's copy, remember, it's visual brain, all right? So if you keep seeing, then you, oh no, they're saying don't do this, say good morning, do this, then you start becoming a habit. And we start breaking the cycle. And then you pass that on to your children or on to your schoolmate. Let's go and steal some mangoes, but I ain't going to steal the mangoes with you because the last time I read it said don't do this, don't do that. If that makes sense, right? So that's what we're trying to do. That's how we're looking at it from an infectious. Just like how we break all the infectious diseases that we have experienced, most recently being COVID, that's the same way we're attacking. And if the community is not involved, it is useless. Because if the community decide Dr. Timothy Harris, Prime Minister, we wearing a mask, everybody will probably be dead, most of the population. But the community responded, I don't want to die, I want to live, I want to go fast, I want to go carnival, I want to fly, so I put my mask. That's the same intention that we are approaching the crime and violence with.
Wonderful. Now, Lady Carey, what are some of the other government entities who are taking part in this?
The Better Opportunity Fairs?
Sorry?
Some of the
other government entities who might be offering services at the fair.
Well, we have the Ministry of Social Development, like I spoke of. We have Ministry of Employment, Ministry of Agriculture, I think that's it for this fair that's coming up, for the ones that have come from thus far. But we are hoping to receive more by the end of today and tomorrow. Yes.
You sure you're going to have space for all of this?
We'll make space. We'll make it work.
Yes. Well, anything
Yeah,
else?
I also wanted to put some numbers, being the data man, right? So I really want persons to understand what we would have lost. So let's say 20 to 30 years, we would have lost 478 young men and women, majority being men. And how much longer can we continue? The community has to play its role. We have to start playing our role in the community. And the preliminary results that I would have gotten from the survey thus far, it shows that the community are now participating in mitigating our peace initiative or any kind of initiative that would reduce persons wanting to be deviant. So I just want to say thanks to the public thus far and the communities for those who are doing what they're doing. We have 156 inmates who are involved in gang violence, in some gang activities. It doesn't have to be shooting. It could be robbery. It could be violent beating or stabbing. That's a lot. So if you add, and then we have about 15 persons who are non-fatal victims, but they are permanently incapacitated. So if you look at that, that's about 700 with 30 years, a country with 53,000 people. That's a serious generation. So who's going to teach between us and the children? So if we keep going and we don't stop and get the community involved, we're going to lose another generation. With Miss Lorraine, by the time you will never retire because nobody there to fill it up. So we can't afford it anymore. And it's personal to me because I'm a man and I know how tough it is to deal with boys, but we have to have the faith. After about 12, 13 years and they're on the right track, they're going to be fine. They just need that the community need to support, because being a boy is pretty tough. You understand? So we need to save our men, and we need to have more programs. We need to do a lot more to keep them in the right path. So yeah, those figures I wanted, and again, those figures represent over a 28-year period. 700 men we would have lost over 28 years to 30 years. That's not a small figure. We have lost prime minister, doctor, commissioner. I mean, we would have had those things. And the other thing is, because the country is almost considered a high, you have those scale, you have low income, high income, so obviously everything would increase, the crime rate. So now we're finding a way to deal with the crime, even though the country now has moved from one scale, international scale, income-wise, to another scale. So we just have to keep working in the communities. I'm asking and I'm urging communities to get involved. Sometimes when politics is politics, but there are times when we have to just kind of not pay attention to that, because it's affecting everybody. Because 700 is my cousin, your brother, your sister, and it doesn't say where you're from or which party you belong to or which community you're from or which football team you play for. It's affecting St. Kitts and Nevis. And so I'm asking the community to participate in the activities that we're having so that we could keep trying to change the norms that we would have seen over the past 28 years.
Okay, because, sorry, I was about to ask you what sort of community support, but I get it.
Yeah.
I understand that. It's scary.
And also, I can't leave out the church. The church has been dynamic, right? So we have been to churches, giving presentation to the churches. And I also want to say organizations, this is me speaking to the organization, or any organization that you think you need to learn more about citizen security and the idea of dealing with crime and violence from a public health point of view, you can contact the secretariat, and we will show up at your doorstep, and or your company or your organization where you meet, and we will make a small presentation, take your answers, and you can also participate in the survey. Because like I said, if you keep bringing the kind of information, positive information to change the norm, eventually it's going to start changing. I have no doubts about it.
Okay, you just mentioned contacting the secretariat. How do you go about that?
Okay, sure. You can send us an email, citizensecurity@gov.kn, or you can call 664-6002.
All right. And And I'm sure you have more to add now.
Yes, I want to just elaborate a bit more what my colleague said in terms of partnering and participating in the activities. Partnership, it matters because no single agency can solve crime and violence. In the past, or sometimes we still hear it that the police is to blame or this person is to blame. No. All of us play a part in solving crime and violence. So definitely it's all hands on deck, right? So what partnership allows, it allows shared resources and expertise. It also expands reach into the communities. We have the holistic intervention that will address multiple risk factors, and of course we want to build back the trust. We want to rebuild trust. We get a lot more answers once trust is there. Persons would reach out, they would talk, so to speak, or they would share information. So we want persons to come on board, collaborate with us. If you have an idea and you want to share, we welcome that idea. We can work together and make it into something great, because again, we want back the communities. We want communities where our children can thrive in. So we want healthy communities. So please come on board, reach out to us, share the ideas, participate in the surveys that we have, because they benefit our research, because that's the only way we can also build or create frameworks that would address what you are saying is an issue for you in your communities, right? So I just wanted to just elaborate on that a bit more, the importance of partnering with the Citizen Security Secretariat.
Okay.
So I showed you this. I would like for you to read it so that the public know that it's real and it's not something that I'm inventing. These are the true facts. So it shows the solution that persons think within the community engagement would be ways to deal with, or some of the solutions that we could use, or who is responsible, or organization for solutions. So Ms. Lorraine, if respectfully, if you don't mind, I think it's clear enough so that you could see.
Okay, well, I'm looking at the distribution of solutions by category. So we have the church is 11.3%. I need to get it a little closer.
Sure.
Thank you. School, 17.7%. Police, 12.9%. Community, 22.6%. Government, 16.1%. Family, 19.4%. So, yeah, family, community, those are the biggest,
yes.
Government, yeah. Well, schools, yeah. Yes, everybody matters.
Yes.
All entities
All
have
entities. That's
yeah.
what I wanted you
Yeah.
to say as a
Yes.
citizen
Yes.
who's not a part of citizen security, and recognize that the solution comes from the community. The greater portion of the pie came from the more than 1/4 of the pie is community direct, and if you amalgamate community and family, that would give you almost 50% of the pie who owns the solution. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Well, I think you would have put it out far better, but anyway, so you
Yes,
could
you did
still
a great job. You did. I will come to your class.
Yes. So I guess we're going to be wrapping up shortly. Anything else that you care to share with us?
So
And
from
you
my
could
point of
appeal-
view,
make appeals
yes.
to,
So my
yeah?
point of view, once again, I reiterate the fact that it would be important or encourage persons that when they come to the fair, even if you just a walking by, a passerby, a walk through, if you could participate in the survey and give yourself a chance to be heard about what we're trying to accomplish in reducing crime and violence from a public health point of view, and looking at it infectiously like COVID, and how much you could participate in such an aspect. Your little 2 cents could go a long way, and so we would like to encourage persons to participate in the survey. That's basically my request to the public at this time.
Yes, and you may ask yourself, well, what can I walk away with this from this fair with, even if they don't have information that I need? That's fine. We're here to build relationships, so we won't let you leave empty-handed per se. Because if you don't have something there at that time, it does not mean that we can't get it for you eventually. So we have colleagues that will be a part of the activities. They will be taking your information, and it's just basic information, just for that period. You know, you give us your name, your number, how we can contact you, and then one of us would reach out to you one-on-one, and then we'll have that conversation. Well, how can we help you? What were you looking for at the fair that you did not see? Because we are building a stronger relationship, and we want to make it consistent. That means it's going to be ongoing. It does not stop at the fairs. You know, it's going to be ongoing. Every month we try to push some type of activities. We have the summer coming up. Our plan is to go into the Vacation Bible School, whatever summer programs that they have. As long as you reach out, we'll be there, right? And so I don't think I mentioned the other fairs that we have scheduled. So the 26th of July, we will be in the Sandy Point area, and hopefully we'll have 2 fairs in August. The 23rd, the other one will be in Sadler's, and once all goes well, we are planning to have one on Nevis also on that same day. So Nevis is a part of this too, you know, so we're just inviting persons, just get involved. It's something great, it's beneficial to everyone, not
That's
just
right.
me, not just you, but everyone. And if we are thinking about country above self, what does that mean? We have to get involved. All hands on deck. It's an open door for us. We'll bring whatever thoughts you have, and we welcome any criticism, of course, because how can we grow? How can we get better? So we're not only looking for a great job. We're looking for, maybe you can do this to improve the next time. You know, maybe you can add this the next time. So we are open to any feedback that you have that would benefit all of us, not just me.
Yeah.
All of us. All right. So we're looking for persons to come together, join forces. The reason, so we can have safer, richer communities for all.
Very good. But importantly, I have my Mr. Chatterbox over there. There's no way that he doesn't have a question. So, Flames, let's hear you.
Well, I personally, when it comes to crime and violence, I know you guys saying that you guys in the community. One thing I know for sure, when it comes to crime, activities help. So what type of activities you guys have in place, like whether it's a sports program, whether it's track and field, whether it's soccer, whether it's cricket, you guys taking, part in those areas to help strengthen that and put on community events to bring different communities together?
Yes, we definitely have those. The Ministry of Social Development, they will have a much wider areas when it comes to the I think that the actual listing of the various activities that will be taking place throughout the communities. So we do have community programs, and again, even if we don't have community programs at this time, we are listening to the voice of the people. We are getting the information from the surveys. When we did our community engagement last year, when we got to I think it was the Virtuals area, they spoke of some of the community activities or program that they used to have, but they're now dead and dormant. So in speaking with them, we are looking at ways how we can revive them together. It's all hands on deck, Don't just bring problems, we are also welcoming possible solutions. So yes, definitely I would say we have programs that we're going to be pumping back into the communities, and if it's dead, we are planning to revive them together.
Okay.
And additionally to your question, Mr. DJ, the Secretariat also has a representation from every ministry. So where, for example, let's say, because you made mention of sports, the Ministry of Sports would create programs targeting the requirement of the Secretariat. So it's specifically to change the direction of the children. So even if you play football, but it would probably have some specific objective to meet. Not just go and play football, right? But there's an objective why we're playing football.
Okay.
So that we're trying to change the way in which you see deviancy to something else.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And in the same breath, I just also wanted to reach out to Nevis. Nevis has been very, very, very cooperative in this aspect. They would have, especially the survey. My statistician is actually a Nevisian, so the survey, they would have been very, very responsive to the survey. So over to the Nevis persons in Nevis, I just want to take time out to thank them for assisting me in the survey as well. The churches that we go to, they open the doors and they allow us to come and communicate with them and interact with them and give us vital information. So I just wanted to also put that out there and thank the local community as well, and even persons who are overseas participate as well. So it's persons are coming on board and understanding that it can't be business as usual. And I say it can't be business as usual. We need to save our children.
Yes.
Okay, another question. When it comes to the data, can you list the top three cause that lead, teenagers or for someone to go down that road of violence or in gang or to join a gang? And secondly, what method you guys are going to use to deter that going forward if you guys have that data?
Okay, so yes, the USAID would have responded to that question that he asked. So persons want to join a gang because they want to feel safe. Remember I said earlier in the conversation that if you see a violent act, someone gets shot, someone gets stabbed, it's only like I say, you becoming infected by seeing and copying it from your brain, right? It's a brain visual. It's a visual brain response to the infection or the transmission. And so once you see that, rather than you going maybe to tell the police or maybe to tell mommy and daddy or tell your friend, you just work out, I'm going to join this, so I want to feel safe. Also because I wanted to earn an income. So they see it as a quick fix rather than, as the Bible says, by the sweat of your brow. So they don't want to sweat, but they want a quick fix, and we know anything come fast goes fast. So that's number two. And the other one is because lack of parenting. They don't think that the parents give them enough time. And and I understand. So I was giving an example with Taiwan. In Taiwan, they have so many activities that it somewhat mimics the average time in which parents would be at work. So even when a child finishes at 3, they go to class, they go to sports, whatever activities. So when they get home within that 4 or 5 hour period, they are busy.
Yeah.
So maybe an hour and a half. The most they might be at home alone. They're tired already and they still have homework to do, right? So if we could keep that kind of momentum going, try and mimic, because parents have 2 and 3 jobs.
Yeah.
Some of them, you wake up, your parents not there, go to sleep, they're still not there. You may see them on the day off. May. And that's and so what do? Get somebody gonna take advantage of that. So they're gonna put you to deviancy.
Yeah.
So we trying to find a way to keep you positive by creating activities. So all the ministries are on board and try to deal with that, mimic that. And like I said, the government would have put a lot of new professionals when it comes to social behavior. It's psychosocial professionals. Like I said, Dr. Powell is leading that, and so they will be able to cope with any trauma that the children would have had to deal with. Like just like in COVID, after we when you come in your house, you hear, oh, wipe the tables, wipe that. That's disinfecting, right?
Yes.
So the responsibility of the psychosocial professional is to disinfect what the murder or the activity would have left.
Yeah.
So we're following the epidemiological framework to deal with this crime.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
So you have a lot to do with guidance, and it also seems we're just pertaining to, I said, Taiwan. Maybe that's something you guys could look into going forward. Create a system where that, I'm not saying stress out the kids them, but create a system where that they have things to do in a period of time. So even though a parent is not at home, they're somewhere else doing something academic, whether it's going to be playing table tennis or something like that, and you have to be a schedule. So I think that will help society because when you have time on your hand with no guidance, what's going to happen as a...
So that make a lot of sense. And like I said, we don't want to, I just also want to tell the public, there's no foreigner involved. It's just locals.
Yeah.
So we're not bringing anybody to tell us how to run the country and run with children and deal with the crime and violence. The Prime Minister has no foreigners at the table. I just wanted to put that clear. So everything I'm saying, it's from what the community gave us. And as a person who has a little bit of training in that aspect, because I'm doing a PhD, this is the information we got, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to put it out there. So even if Taiwan is doing that, yes, we can take the framework or the basic from Taiwan, but we still have to
adjust it to the
culture that we have, because nobody know our culture like us, right? So that's important. And that's why the Prime Minister have all the ministry on board. So when you do something, we try to pick up every ministry, put their 2 cents within the framework so that we could follow could get it done. Because when I was 47, and I'm not afraid to say my age, right? 47. Your DJ, you
Yeah.
go home,
Yeah.
your mother home.
Yes.
She said 5 minutes after the bell ring, you got to be home.
Yeah.
And she up the road waiting. We don't have that luxury
Yeah.
because everybody has to work. Cost of living respectfully is
Yeah.
high. So the
Yeah.
parents are not necessarily there.
Yeah.
You very seldomly see a housewife. Maybe persons who are better
Yeah.
off, so the father can take care of all the responsibilities. But from a mother's point of view, they have to work because we have, remember, 700 men. So that's 700 daddies who are not there for
There.
the children.
Yeah.
So our mother, we have 700 mothers who don't have a father for their children and will never have. So she needs help, right?
Yeah.
They all need help.
Yeah.
So it is incumbent on the system to help the mothers
Yeah.
from pregnancy to casket, if that makes
Exactly.
sense. And so we are trying to make sure that we assist in the best way we can. I mean, we don't have all the solution. The community have the solution. Because
Yeah.
again, if when the former Prime Minister, respectfully, Dr. Timothy Harris said, and his team, please wear a mask, and the community said, "But we wearing a mask.
Yeah.
That ain't feel good. I can't
Yeah.
breathe. Oh, don't go party," and we have a
Yeah.
party, and people start falling down. But the community responded to the requirement, the SO and Ps, the SNOs, and the request from the NEEM or etc. And they responded, and thus we had one of the best responses to COVID-19, and that's what we want to do when it comes to crime and violence.
Okay. Well, my advice to you guys have to continue doing this, and you can't wait until you gotta get them from the grassroots stage, so from the primary school days, you go in there. I know when I used to go to school, we used to have guidance council and stuff like that to help us with things. I don't know if that in the school system here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but I know you get in a little fight, even before you go home. Either the teacher, the principal, then, when you don't get your whooping, the guidance counselor, try to figure out what, caused it, and it's there. I think what I, over the years living here, I think sometimes it takes the trauma is not being dealt with at this earlier stage, and it grows into anger and more anger, and, you feel like you're bigger now, or you have a tool now, you decide that, this man busted me head 5 years ago or 3 years ago, and nobody, you just retaliate. So I think you guys should be starting in the school, in the churches where kids normally will be, and ensure that they get the right guidance, and able to deal with whatever trauma. Whether if they are the victim, whether there's bully or being bullied, we need those conversations from that early stage. Conflict to resolve those conflict resolution. Yeah.
So that make a lot of sense. And yesterday, even when we were presenting yesterday, and the Prime Minister would have said that now, you get suspended. Party time, right?
Yeah.
Your friends got teeth mango.
Yeah.
Because it's mango season. So unfortunately, there's nothing like that. You get suspended, you're not going home. There are programs now to find out why you got suspended. What did you do? What you're lacking? Did you get to eat? Were your parents at home? So those are things. So you could see that any angle we're trying to deal, but we're not just going in circles and, like as we say in St. Kitts, headless chicken. We have the data. So whatever the greater needs are, we focus on those, because we don't want to stretch the resources thin and then nothing is accomplished. We go back to square one.
Which should be good. I could remember if I get in trouble in school, it's either you have to go out there and pick up the trash, or you got to clean the grease trap. So you get washed, but you probably sometimes get bored. But what I'm saying, like, once you can find things, not things that gonna tie to the work hard, like put them in position for them to second guess themselves and say, like, yo, when I do this is what happened to me, so let me go down the other part. So I think you guys need to find ways of, because you guys have to also discipline, and discipline meaning sometimes they gotta do community service and stuff like that. There's different ways of just locking up the kids them one time with hardened criminals and stuff like that. So that's the next thing too as well. We have to be careful. When someone get sentenced for minor crimes and stuff like that, they don't get incarcerated with hardened criminals as well. So that's something you guys can look into as well.
So there are also programs in the prisons where there are rehabilitation programs, and one of the program I want to put it out here as well, that the Secretariat did December were to allow the fathers to meet with the children, and the fathers would give them gifts. Obviously, the gifts will come from the Secretariat, but it depends on your your behavior during the period. And so you come out of the prison and you go and meet your children in a nice place, properly dressed, and you spend 2-3 hours with your son and present them with a gift at Christmas. I think those are very good, because like, it's the hardest thing is when you are released from prison, and then it's hard for you to find life again, because the public normally rejects you. So we are also trying to create that environment that when you come out, there's something for you to sustain yourself and your family as well. Yeah. So it's a lot of work, like I said, but in wrapping up, I just wanted to put, persons might ask, well, nobody has ever do that. Yes, the US have done it. Trinidad started, but because of continuation, and obviously the biggest issue would be political change, because one government go and one government come, and I don't like that, we're doing this. So what I work on up, we're doing this.
Just a quick note. So, program like these, I think, should be cemented, meaning that whichever party in power have to ensure the sustained it, because what you don't want is something start to work, and then when it changes, the party administration changes, it just, because they didn't start it, they sweep it under the rug. So important things like these need to be cemented, meaning that is not
placing policies.
Yes. So it have to be just like how we have a healthcare system. They could add stuff to it and stuff like that, but they can't get rid of it permanent because of the feel is someone else establish it. I think you guys need to find a way to make sure that a program like this stays.
So that was the issue, like I said, the political issue mainly in Trinidad. In Scotland now, Scotland is about on the 30th year of this program, because they had a stabbing problem in the early 90s, the late 90s, sorry, and they introduced this program, and every year the numbers continue to almost zero right now. So it needs continuation. It needs government to understand that the approach function, whether you come or you go, because government going to change, and we're still going to have the same problem. So we have to deal with, somebody have to deal with it. Yeah. And so it would be nice that if anything would happen, God forbid, that the programs are continued and they establish, like you say, in policy, so that we do not walk away from it, because we have seen a reduction in crime and violence, specifically gang homicide, for the past year or past 8-9 months, and we would like, I know everybody feels safe, because I passed by the strip the other day, and it was booming, right? I mean, I'm not into that, but it's people that have to enjoy it, but you want to feel safe. So how can you continue to feel safe to go to the strip and nobody over there going to shoot you? Nobody over there going to fight with you? So everybody is involved. Yeah. You understand? So we really need the community to play their role. And please, community, in your head, just remember COVID-19. What did I do to make it better in COVID-19? The same thing I wish for you to do when it comes to crime and violence.
So I would suggest that citizens, we have to make our voices heard. Everybody has to speak up, play a part in this very important initiative. And I think that you are making some form of progress, slow but steady. We have a base on which to build. So we all need to get involved, and congrats on the work you all are doing.
Thank you.
Okay, there you have it, and that, I mean, you guys been doing things. I haven't been out much to any one of them, but I've seen it, and I've seen the numbers that you guys. I mean, I think in the news, I think last week, or not last week, this week. I was listening to the numbers and the data that you guys put together, and just gonna say, continue, keep up the good work, and trust me, everywhere that you guys can go, from the school to the prison, to ensure that keep this program intact and get to the youths them, because even when they go in and serve their time, you still want them to come out with a better and a clearer mind to be an asset to society. So keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Different. We're 98.9. 98.9.
Supermarket shoppers understand that convenience matters. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Ample parking and the widest variety matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most.
clean, spacious aisles, and the highest level of customer service all matter. At Hortford's Value Mart IGA, price matters most. We've renewed our commitment to guarantee the lowest prices in the Federation. Why? Because we understand that in this tough economic environment, price matters most. Shop smart. Shop Value Mart, where price matters most. Farms Estate Nevis and Wellington Road, St. Kitts.
Price matters most.
It's that time of year to win big. Use your Republic Bank MasterCard today for a chance to win prepaid cards, a culinary priceless experience, and free groceries for 3 months. Terms and conditions apply. Visit our website or social media for more information.
Get ready, St. Kitts and Nevis. The momentum continues with Better Opportunity Fair number 2, happening Friday, 27th June at 12.